Good morning, everybody. I'm going to talk to you this morning about open and closed doors. Open and closed doors in life. You know what I'm talking about, right? Well, if you don't, here's kind of briefly what I mean. An open door is an advantage that you're given when you're given options. It may be a way out of something or a way into something, and you're walking down the hallways of life or the hallways of adversity. You have doors on your right and your left, and you're checking them, find out which ones you can go through, which ones are giving you access. And some of them are locked, some of them are open. And so what I want to talk to you about is how to handle the open and closed doors. And this is a lifelong learning process for me, and it's been very applicable lately. I want to tell you something. And this is something I was taught a long time ago, but until you actually experience the option of choosing which doors you want to open or try to open, and it doesn't become very real up until that point. It's just words. They're just proverbs and maxims that people dole out, and but it becomes very real when you're personally involved. And I want to tell you something. You're going to go through some hardships, and you're going to need some advantages. You're going to need some options. And it may be that you're not going through a difficult time at all. Maybe circumstances are favoring you. Maybe the sun is shining on you. It's not raining where you're at. It may be that you just have a plethora of options before you, and you've got to figure out which doors you want to choose to try to open. Here's what I want to tell you. When you're given the options, be very careful about trying to burst through doors that are locked. I'm serious, because we live in a culture here in America where the mentality is if you want something bad enough, you can get it. Oh, they're right. You can. If you really want something bad enough, you can make it happen. But there is a problem inherent in all of that. There's a deeply flawed logic behind that. If you have to knock a door down because it's locked and you don't have the keys, it's okay if you come across a locked door as long as you have the key. But if you have to knock it down, there might be something wrong with that. It might be that you're not supposed to go through that door. Have you ever gotten what you wanted because you tried so hard, you worked at it, you kept going at it, and you burst through that door? Have you ever done that and then not wanted what you got? Has it ever not worked out in your favor? I can relate to this. And I want to tell you that what you need to do is you need to focus on the doors that are unlocked. Or at least if you have a door to go through that's locked, make sure you have the keys, but don't force it down. Because let me tell you something, life has a way of handing you what you need. Life has a way of handing you what you should have. It also has a way of keeping things from you that you want. And you might think to yourself, well, if I go through the open doors, I might find something that I don't want. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't have it. It doesn't mean that it's not for you. See, this is the problem, is a lot of people think that they have to have what they want, and if they're getting something they don't want, then it's just not good for them. It's not for them. That's not true. Sometimes you have to accept what life hands you. Now, here's an example in my own life that we're going through here currently. That I really had to stop and pay attention to this, and I had to think about what I'm telling you right now. Our family is going through a host of circumstances that are hard to negotiate. We have a daughter that's moving out and going to college. If you hear beeping around me, it's because I have these trucks backing up in my vicinity. But it will quit here shortly. But anyway, we have a daughter, an 18-year-old daughter, that's moving away. She's only moving about 40 miles away from us. It's not a real big deal. It could be worse. But she's moving away. It's harder on her mother than it is on me. But it's part of her going to college and moving in with her friends and things like that. It's just a normal part of life. But it's our first child. We have 4 children. and this is our first child that's doing this. So yeah, it's kind of strange. It makes you feel a little heavy-hearted and contemplative, and you start thinking about what kind of a parent you've been, if you spend enough time with your child. All that goes into what we're experiencing with her leaving home. But this is going to be good for her. She's going to have a great time. She's going to have some hard times. And so as a father, you feel kind of protective, and you want to be there for her in that sense, but you can't be all the time. Having said that, let me tell you about some of the other things that are going on. We live in a rental home. We rent this house out. Nice neighborhood, nice home. And we don't live in an area where the schools that are zoned for where we live are what we want for our children. We can't afford private school. And so we've been juggling our options, trying to figure out which ones would be best for us. We settled on a virtual school. Polk virtual school. I think we're going to be very happy with it, but going into anything new like that, trying to navigate your way around something in an area where you haven't been before is a little daunting. We'll get it figured out, but there is that stress of that learning period of getting your children adjusted, because I have 3 of them in this, and so we've never done this before, so we're proceeding gingerly, and so there's a little bit of a strain there. But that's not the worst of it. We found out just like a week ago. We got a letter in the mail from a law office letting us know that the house that we're living in is in foreclosure. Well, this is not uncommon, I guess. Like, it happens to a lot of people. But now it's happening to us. And it's happening at the beginning of the school year. It's happening right at the time when the kids are supposed to start school, when my daughter's moving out. And so we thought, well, let's look for an apartment. Let's look for a nice house or a nice apartment to live in. We settled on these apartments that we wanted to move into. Real nice. Because I'm real picky about apartments. I've had bad experiences with that before, but I really like these apartments. I decided we were gonna move in there, or we decided we were gonna move in there, and we had our minds settled. And then that turned out to be, it sounded like it was only going to cost us so much to move in, and then it kind of ended up doubling in price. Not the monthly rent, just the cost to move in. That changed overnight. Then we're trying to figure out how we're going to scrape up the money. And then, on top of that, we talked to a friend of our family's, people that we know from next door, a lawyer next door. He did some research for us, and he gave us some good advice, and he was letting us know that moving at this moment might not be our best option, because we are in a lease agreement, and the owner, if he doesn't lose his house, he can come back on us for a whole host of reasons. And use your imagination. Garnishment of wages, anything that involves the lease agreement being broken, breach of contract. So we're dealing with all that at one time. Debating, should we move, should we not, should we pay the rent, should we not? I mean, because you only have so much money. There's only so much money, there's only so much time. And so we're going through all these things at one time, but what it really comes down to, and this is the reason why I bring all this up, what it really comes down to is I have to pay attention to where are the open doors, which doors are open for me, which doors are closed. Because I'm going to tell you something, I can make things happen. I can engineer things to go my way if I really want to, bad enough. Bad enough. But is that what is good for me? And this is what you got to ask yourself whenever you're facing something that you're going through, where you have decisions to make and you have different options. Do you want to use your will to burst down doors, or do you want to sit back and look closely at what the open doors are, what the closed doors are? If you come across a locked door, it's okay to try it if you have a key, but don't try to break the door handle. Don't try to kick it down. Be very careful, because life is trying to tell you something. And so we have to take all these things into consideration. whenever we're facing something like this. Is the door open or is it closed? So I've been thinking about it a lot. I'm thinking here's this person who's willing to do some research for me, and he's being very generous about it. It's like God is giving me a sign. You know, how often does something like this happen for me? I don't know if I've explained it well enough for you to understand exactly what I'm talking about, but I know. I mean, you have to pay attention to the signs that life gives you. I like to say it's signs that God gives me, but you may not believe the same as I do. But life is handing you signs. Life is letting you know what the open doors are and what the closed doors are. You need to pay attention to them. You know, don't try to prove anything by bursting down a door and telling people this is what I did. I made it happen because I kicked the door down. Let me tell you something. You may end up getting something you don't want. Pay very close attention. Open doors, closed doors, and all the signs that you're getting. Pay very close attention. I don't know that I have a whole lot more to say about this without repeating myself more than I have already. I hope I haven't bored you. I hope it's been constructive for you. And if you have any thoughts on the matter, if you have any illustrations, examples from your own life, feel free to put them in the comments below. I like hearing from you guys. I like hearing anything you've got to say. And I hope this has helped you. I hope this video has come to you at a time when you've needed it most. So, you know, understand that even though you may have to settle for something you don't necessarily want, or something didn't fall in line with your plans, doesn't mean that in the end it won't line up with what you ultimately want. Understand that, please. Because I'm 47 years old. I have learned that much. And just hang in there, guys, and pay very close attention to what's going on around you. Pay attention to reality. It's trying to tell you something. All right, I've got to go to work. I do appreciate your time. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up and go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I'll try to put out more. And thanks for your patience. All right, catch you guys later. Bye-bye.